So Marcello, were you not looped in on the conspiracy of Italian duelists all to pick up the Kashtira deck?
No.
There was a surprise to you?
I'll wait for the finals. If they win, obviously it was all me. If they don't make it, I have nothing to do about it. Okay? So, that's how it is.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. But it's actually gonna be going second, it seems. And yeah, you can see Andrea's reaction leaning forward. Didn't expect that. Not quite the adventure part of the deck that you want to start things off with, but we'll take it.
Still get to special summon it for free, and any two monsters can make a Fiendsmith monster. Fiendsmith is such a great engine, but it does require quite a hefty extra deck investment, so maybe we'll see how you can cope with a 60-card main deck and only a 15-card extra deck. Oh dear.
Ooh, when it comes to shifters being activated here, and kind of a throwback, because we were mentioning the turn before the Orcus deck, and now I think it's another throw for the Water Enchantress, but the shifter here, it's huge.
Absolutely, like classic Kashtira action here, that Dimension Shifter. I feel like there was almost a point where Kashtira was popular enough it wasn't worth running the Dimension Shifter, but we're definitely not at that point at the moment, and that Shifter is going to be very, very powerful. Timoti really just shaking his head. He doesn't seem very happy.
Yeah, because he got heavily punished. That's the thing. He could have used the Enchantress effect, but instead he wanted to first use it and then banish it from the graveyard. Instead, if he would have used the in-hand effect, he could have gotten a negation off with the Griffin. So I guess that really caught him off guard by not using the shifter, as some duelists have done this weekend in the draw phase to play around talent. Andrea got rewarded, and now we see the impermanence to stop the rabbit.
Yeah, you're right there. It does seem like an interesting choice to just hold the shifter. I don't really think there's too much of a benefit to doing so, but maybe there is.
Oof, and that's a great one to start things off here.
Yeah, I feel like a shifter and impermanent Fenrir is going to get you quite far in this event.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like one of those staples that most of the deck has been playing so far. Like, even though if not in trios, at least a couple of them in every single deck. And I really feel like that playing in a tournament like this with a Kashtira deck, I think brings you consistency throughout all the rounds, right? I think it's one of those decks that really, keeps on doing what it does at its best.
Yeah, it does what it does pretty consistently. Hard to argue with that. I feel like maybe if you're Timoti, do you actually know this is just pure Kashtira at this point? Because I don't know what deck plays like Shifter and Fenrir, other than just like a regular Kashtira deck. But they're not cards that anything yet would necessarily indicate you're playing Kashtira.
Yeah.
But I suppose the Shifter. Can you play Fenrir in Ritual Beast or something? I don't know, or Tenpai, maybe.
Yeah,
you could play it in Tenpai probably. Well, in Tenpai, you'd have to give up Impulse. It doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, I mean, trade-off. Interesting trade-off, I'd say.
It could still be Vanquish Soul, in theory. I think you'd play all these cards in Vanquish Soul, but I don't think you'd play the Unicorn in Vanquish Soul. So I think here we're kind of locked in.
And I think at this point, Timoti has realized that, it is up against a Kashtira deck.
Yeah, what I was wondering is that, Kashtira cards are still really popular this weekend in general. Like a lot of the Nikai deck, or in round one we saw Joshua Smith and a lot of other duelists are playing the same deck as him. And what I was wondering about his deck is there are going to be games in which your opponent just thinks, obviously not with the shifter, but they think you are playing Snake Eye and you just throw into the Kashtira part of the deck. And I think that can play into some interesting mind games like the Fuwalos. Do you really keep it in, side it out? But obviously once the shifter hits the graveyard, I think you can pretty much assume that they are not on that part of the deck.
I mean, Fuwalos is not irrelevant against the Kashtira deck anyway, because you're maybe going to hit a Theosis or something like that, and if you're looking for cards to take out of the deck, then maybe Fuwalos isn't one of them, and you might have even worse cards to take out.
And let's just see now, Andrea, what we would like to go for is just having a think about this, because basically Timothy is left with 2 cards in hand, right? Yes.
If you're feeling very greedy, you could use a Draco Sack, and then that would clear your field. And then you'd be able to summon the Unicorn from hand, but he's not so greedy as me. Just gonna keep the Fenrir and call it a day. Because this feels like very subpar, like taking advantage of your opponent's, you know, weak opening field. You had Shifter, Imperm, Fenrir. Like, I don't think you can hope for much more. So, if yeah, it feels like you kind of want to be doing more in this kind of spot.
Yeah. And that's where the skepticism was on my side on the power level, but because honestly, if you can't win with such an opener, I don't know what more you can expect your deck to, you know, do.
I mean, even though Fenrir searches anything from the deck, it's never been like the easiest card to use just by itself in the Cash Tier deck specifically. You kind of always wanted to start with the Unicorn, yeah.
Yeah, I guess even nowadays it's the top threat of the deck, because obviously back in the day when the deck was at full power, everyone had to build their extra deck for it, and also for the combos. While nowadays you see a lot of one-offs, and so the Unicorn can be extremely annoying to deal with, especially when you go first. You can activate it even twice if they want to like interrupt you. So
yeah, I mean, cards like Princess, very, very important, and most players expect to get its effect off a couple of times in a game, bring it back from the grave and so on. So yeah, picking it off before it ever hits the field can be very nasty. Timoti just trying to figure out the best way to sequence his plays, and like this Fenrir makes sense. Fenrir going to be hit by, going to hit the Engraver, because otherwise the Engraver could just answer it by itself with the help of a Requiem.
And here, yes, he gets rid of the Engraver and nothing else. Ooh, and here comes the Illusion of Chaos, which I think is one of another card that we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
And it was incredibly powerful with the Magician's Soul. And here it is. I think this is something that we have seen quite a few times over the past years. And it's always good, I think, to see, you know, like these cards back in action here in 2024. And especially because, like, here you can see Timoti explaining Andrea what the card does. And I think Magician's Soul in general, I think it's super synergic and powerful card.
Yeah, it's very cool. Do you get to keep the Illusion of Souls in your hand? It just searches?
you have to send it back to the top, right? You did.
Okay, maybe he did that. Okay.
Yeah, he did. He doesn't have it anymore. Because that's the whole point, where you can just play one spellcaster, because you send whatever you put back, you know.
Oh, that's neat. But you can also send the Witch.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like how you can fish the Witch out of your graveyard again. But it seems fun to send it anyway.
I do love, in general, as a card, you know, Magician of Souls. And obviously you need a deck that can really make it work, but as he's playing the Adventure package, that was really neat back in the day.
Yeah, this is cool as well. Look, he just equipped the Requiem there. He's going to get to send it and draw a card.
Yes.
I like it. Could send 2, get 2 fresh cards.
That's what he's doing.
But is there anything from Andrea to stop it? No, there is not. I feel like at this point you kind of know, probably. Like, surely Veiler or Ash you'd have to use.
I think Andrea is thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, he's thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see him debating. He only has one card in hand,
yeah,
right?
maybe an effect Veiler.
Oh, it's Unicorn in hand if there's one in hand. So it's a 1 and a Unicorn.
No, there is another one. Yeah, it is the Veiler.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
Andrea trying to have 2 graveyards for a minute there.
Yeah, I guess he's left-handed, so makes it a little bit more confusing, but yeah.
Did he forget he was left-handed for a minute? This is a time for a light charmer if ever I saw one, but you know, don't think that will come to pass. I'm wondering, is there any way to get this Witch out of the graveyard, or is it just... Oh, you can make Celine, can't you?
Yeah, that's it.
That's neat, but I don't think he's going to get to 3.
That's one more reason for the Charmer there.
There you go. There's not enough lights. Oh, is this maybe just an SP time then? But SP is just nowhere near going to cut it, is it?
No, not quite. That's all you're doing. Yeah, it seems like it.
Going to attack, and then he's going to have the... Yeah, this feels very weak to the
Unicorn.
remaining Unicorn. He's got an Effect Veiler in hand, so he can keep it at bay for a turn, but I suppose the power of Kashtira is there. But having said that, he is going to have follow-up, so...
Yes.
Maybe he does get the job done. That Lacrima is going to put in some work, right? It's going to summon a Requiem. Keep recycling. Hopefully he'll have another Engraver in the deck. I don't know how many Engraver he runs, but surely it's 3 in a 60-card deck. Yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
Need a couple for that in case one of them gets Fenrid, obviously.
So the pickup was the Murner, I think. Maybe. Yeah. But
Yeah.
yes, even another card. Oh, it's Fenrir.
Wait, has he
Was
got...
it Unicorn that he added?
I thought he did add a... There's no way you'd add another Fenrir, right?
I'd say so. But there is no way that you summon Fenrir instead of Unicorn here.
Oh no, because it gets... it forces out the SP.
It does anyway, right? You just go Unicorn attack and then Memphis you extend with...
Why don't you just activate the Fenrir effect here? I don't see why not. Oh, I suppose you just attack. No, this is weird, you're right.
Yeah. Is he forgetting anything?
Oh, no, so you attack, and then you use it, and then you add Rise Heart again,
Yeah.
and then you get Birth. So this kind of preserves the Unicorn in hand. I kind of like it. I mean, it's the same deal as using Unicorn, but this way, if something goes wrong, you have the Fenrir on the field and Unicorn in your hand.
Yeah, for now, gets to attack over it, and then Memphis you, as you mentioned, should add another copy of Rise Art.
And it has to be Effect Veiler.
Yeah.
And then will Lacrima get the job done against a Mourner?
No more cards.
There's Mourner for Andrea, but Lacrima for Timoti, so there's still quite a lot of life in this game yet.
Andrea's left with 1 card in it, right?
It's got
No, Andrea's got Shoe. He's got the
Shoe.
Marner and the Unicorn should be well. We think so. Yeah, it's gonna be quite the grind.
Lacrima giving you such good follow-up for pretty much no cost. Maybe Andrea's recently sleeved his deck. I'm sure everyone who's played Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows when you put some fresh sleeves on a deck, it just falls off.
Yeah.
After a small gust of wind, it's gone.
Is the feeling sometimes? I do.
Presumably you just get the Lacrima back again.
Yeah.
That's the Engraver in the graveyard instead of on the field.
Makes a lot of sense. You do lose the Lacrima, but no, because you evaded it, so yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Fenrir is negated anyway. So yeah, it's definitely better.
If you Mourner this, though, it does...
Can get
Timoti's
awkward.
relying on his top deck. I don't know how scared you are of the top deck.
100%, it's the way to do it. No.
It's a tricky one.
Yeah, but what do you want to murder instead?
Or whatever Timoti tries to play with next turn. I mean, as is, he can't do an awful lot, right? Because
Yeah, it's an awkward spot for sure. And we draw one crucial card.
What's the kind of card that gets you back in here? It's got to stare down the Morna and the Fenrir. Fenrir number 2 gets banished. Maybe the third Fenrir will. Not the third. But the third.
This is
engraver.
Alright, but it doesn't really solve the problem. So you need a solid top deck. Because you can get rid of this Fenrir, but let's see.
Yeah, I think the Morna is going to seal the deal, right? Even if you can normal summon and make a spell. Grass.
that could be an interesting one.
No, I don't think he runs grass.
Yeah, I don't think so, unfortunately. He's just playing anti-grass. Just playing 60 for that reason, obviously. And let's see. Comes down to this. What's the last card? Oh, it's not a spell. It's blue, but it's not quite a spell. Okay.
Interesting choice there. Like, if you'd kept the Requiem equipped, then you could try and send it away to draw a card, which I think I'd probably value more than getting rid of the Fenrir.
What do we do with this?
Just sequence, maybe.
Yeah, rough spot for sure.
But Timoti's got to know, like, there's got to be something in his hand. Unless it's like a shifter.
Yet another witch.
Is there even enough fiends for sequence in the grave? Looks like it.
Yeah. But this murder is devastating and should be enough, because the unicorn itself represents so much damage. So yeah, this is plenty of damage from Andrea. Good effort, but unfortunately it seems that although it took a lot longer than we expected, that shifter impermanence Fenrir in the end is getting the job done.
Yeah, it feels like if you open like your best cards in your deck, you want the game to be a little less close than that, but a win is a win.
Here it is.
Yep. I guess Andrea will have to be happy with taking game number 1, most likely.
Yeah, and here
and Timoti, I think, understands what is about to happen, because the Kashtira bird gets activated from Andrea, and
I was about to say you search birth in that spot, but it objected it, so that's good enough.
And that's it. Yes, for game 1, Andrea takes the lead very impressively, and I mean, we had the chance to talk to Lorenzo Muselli yesterday, you know, Italian national champion, and I mean, Andrea is a very good friend of his, and they play tested together, and they were very confident with the deck. In general, they felt like the deck is consistent, the deck performs very well, and in a very long tournament, the deck had very good chances in general. And I feel like that, you know, also in this game 1, we kind of felt like, does he have enough, you know? And at the end of the day, he actually had, because, you know, it's still game 1, and now the pressure is on his opponent.
Yeah, it feels very similar to the deck that we saw Joshua Schmidt play earlier today. I mean, obviously it's a full Kashtira instead of using those Fiendsmith cards, but having a sort of light engine, you're not trying to do as much, and instead you're just relying on having an engine that's kind of resilient to some interruptions, plus a pile of interruptions on your own side. Which do you prefer out of the 2 decks?
I do agree that it's similar in a way, but if you go deeper down the rabbit hole, I think it's actually opposite, you know, mindsets, because they are playing more of a rogue deck with cards like Shifter, with traps also afterwards, and Joshua is playing a deck that doesn't surprise me. It's very Joshua-like, I think, because he, instead of relying on like super heavy combos, he wants to interact with his opponent. Usually these kind of players, you know, think they are better than the average player, and so they want the game to feel like a back and forth one. So if you play Entraps, Kashtiras, you tend to make the games longer, and then you are more in a grind game where you're comfortable with. So it seems it's still towards being a combo deck. It's just a fairer combo deck in a way, a deck that allows you to interact with your opponent and that has a better hope of breaking the field when going second. So I don't know. I would say they are completely extreme opposites. I think not in the way that like the deck that they are playing. Also talking to them, they told me we don't think we are gonna make top cut, or at least all of us. But if we make it to the top cut, we are a deck that can win the event, the Kashtira Pure, because they really prepared heavily for Tempai and Snake Eye. While the Joshua deck feels to me like a deck that will make it to the top cut, but at some point when they are gonna do the unfair things, maybe you lose to them, you know. But we'll see at the end of the day what happens. Our duelists are ready, so it's once again Baggio going first.
So Timoti just having a little break, making sure he's in tip-top shape for the beginning of the game. And will we see a start like last time? Will he have some sort of spooks in his mind? Because normally once players, you clear the standby phase, you think, boy, no shifter. But maybe that won't be the case this time.
I mean, if there's another shifter, honestly, I mean, we have seen it in game one, and I mean, I feel like in general, we saw, I think, maybe one time only the shifter being activated and the cold buy was there. But in a 60-card deck, honestly, I think what are the chances? Like very thin, you know?
But starting with the planet, I think it's a great response in general. Even if they have the shifter, you have your own Kashtira engine, and that's all right.
Yeah, it's like a mirror match, right, Alberto?
Exactly. Yeah. It is a mirror match, right?
Okay, but I can justify myself, because when I was looking at the deck list, I mean, my eyes only went to this portion of the deck, like Turn Permanence, Birth, Fenrir, Unicorn. I was like, yeah, okay, it's a mirror match. The other guys were staring at me like, I don't know. Did you read the whole thing? But yeah, I mean, like, as for now, I mean, I can see like the field spell plus the Unicorn and the Birth. So, I mean, prove me wrong.
Has there ever been a 60-card?
Yeah, that is your mirror match card. Your favorite, the right. Yeah.
Here we go. I also saw the Wanted in hand for Timoti, so a really powerful start. One starter card from each engine. I love the drawing Wanted or Black Witch with the field spell in particular, because you get like so many free cards to send, because you can send the field spell and then you contribute your Kashtira monster for Birth, and then you know, and then you can bring it back. So by the time you've all said and done, your Kashtira is paid for everything and then some more. Here we're going to see more of our adventure package. Set up the Griffin Rider. Get that negate in play before continuing anything else.
I like, by the way, to see this, you know, these decks in action, like the one of Francesco and Timothy's, you know, being, you know, this deep into the tournament, especially because, like, of course, like you really want to win this one last before advancing into the HU and having, you know, at least that edge, you know, of losing, you know, another one tomorrow in case. But I think we have been discussing this all day long, how many different decks there are in the current format and how well they can perform, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, I think that what we have seen in popularity is, of course, like the Kashtira cards being played almost everywhere, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's amazing to see because they're very popular, and then but the new card, Dominus Impulse, really powerful card, and obviously conflicts with them completely. So players still opting to use the Kashtira engine even at the expense of this very powerful new trap.
And here we get to see the Deception being activated, and it looks as if Andrea doesn't have any response. And also we previously mentioned the, let's say, the fall of popularity of Nibiru this weekend, I guess. You know, I think it's one of those cards that has not been played in all the decks, I would say. I mean, Andrea's deck is full of hand traps, and I'm quite surprised, honestly, that he hasn't activated one yet, I would say.
Yeah, there's a good number of hand traps there, isn't there?
11, 13, 16, 16 hand traps in the main deck, plus eventually, you know, other 3 in the side deck. Okay, here's the Ash Blossom, okay. Being activated by Andrea.
Not great, because yeah, it prompts the Unicorn and can also be negated if he wants.
Yeah, I don't hate negating it here because assuming you get through your sort of sinful spoils Azamina line, then you're going to end up with negate anyway, so just be sort of trading one negate for another. It looks like that is the plan, and I think, does it negate the activation or the effect? The Griffin Rider.
Oh, sorry.
Let's have a look and see.
Activation.
Negates the activation, so I don't think you can use the Unicorn. You can use the Unicorn now, though. I don't think Andrea is going to be too bothered by this because he's running Extravagance himself, so he's willing to just banish 5 old cards, 6 cards even from his extra deck face down at random. So his extra deck is actually built with this kind of thing in mind, with a lot of redundancy in the cards. I wonder, this is probably one of the few times I've seen the Sinful Spoils without the original Sinful Spoils being included in the deck.
Apparently it doesn't need it. Yeah.
I feel like when you're Timoti, this is kind of what you want to see, because he's having such a powerful start that you don't really mind if your opponent's going to throw a few interruptions at you, because you're still going to end with a pretty strong field, I'd say. And you know, you're going to end with a strong field, and every card your opponent uses now is a card they won't have on their turn. Here we see the moon. Like, we all know, yeah, thanks to Lacrima now, this is like at minimum a Desiree.
So many different engines this turn.
He's here to have fun.
Yeah. All of his favorites.
I don't know what he can kind of end on. With the generic most powerful extra deck monsters have been slowly being sort of taken out, like Appaloosa and Baron de Fleur, which I feel like this kind of deck would absolutely love to have included. So you have to work a little harder to find your kind of generic negates, things like Silhouette Rabbit picking up in popularity for that reason.
Not sure what's going on. Well,
I think just a clarification here on what happened.
and yeah, Graver summoned back. And as you mentioned, Tom, yeah, we're going straight into the Desiree most likely. Let's see.
1, 2, 3. Wondering if there's some like powerful link 4 or something that he can make with the Celine and the Witch, but I don't know if there's any rank 4s to do after that, so maybe you just call it a Silhouette Rabbit.
Yeah, the powerful rank 4 Silhouette Rabbit.
Exactly.
There it is. And there comes the statue. I mean, this is pretty respectable considering you got rid of 2 cards from your opponent.
Yeah,
so
and there's going to be ample follow-up.
Yeah. And he's still holding in 4 cards. So, yeah.
He should have a Birth in hand, assuming it's still there, which I feel like you might as well use. Well, he might start to run out of spell and trap card zones.
He does. So, totally agree with you. an additional layer of interruption. The Gravier effect is not really relevant in this matchup, but it's something that can catch people off guard a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most powerful effect, but against Kashtira, obviously they don't want their cards banished, but Birth Banish is face down, so
yeah,
if you happen to catch something, it might be useful.
Look at this.
Wow.
What an opener through Ashen Veiler, and let's see. I mean, Andrea is playing a lot of going second cards that can be useful, but for now we start things off as in the previous game with the Fenrir.
Fenrir on its own probably going to force out the Desiree unless it's got a different kind of effect negation. It kind of has to be negated, otherwise the Fenrir would take out the equipped sequence. Here comes Unicorn number 2. I can't remember what.
Thinking.
Azarune, you kind of have to flip preemptively against the deck.
Shouldn't you?
Well, you can also use it to destroy a spell or trap, so it's definitely a useful idea to flip it.
Just like against Kashtira specifically, I would just flip
Yeah,
it right away.
yeah, it makes sense.
Just perfect, yeah.
Just trade for one of their monsters.
So, I don't know. Would have liked to see that flip, and wow, we give up on the rest of this turn, but Andrea pulls the trigger on this Typhon.
In this specific situation, it doesn't feel like it's going to do an awful lot. It's just going to trade into the Desiree, maybe. But you can't bounce the Desiree because it's untargetable. So you have to attack the Desiree. Oh, but he's just going to leave the Desiree. Yeah, you can attack the Unicorn, but that's just going to come back next turn.
That's by far the worst one.
Well, the Illusion Rabbit can't be destroyed.
Yeah, I know.
So you're running low on options. What? You can't target that, can you?
It doesn't have the protection.
Why not?
Doesn't he need the other one?
Sequence is that gives it protection.
Probably doesn't. Yeah, but does it target is the question.
Oh, does Typhon on target?
Maybe it doesn't.
It must.
It must?
I can't believe it doesn't target. I won't believe it. I refuse. We see the spell and trap destruction
Andrea
coming
seen
in.
enough.
Yeah, I mean, this makes sense.
I mean, after this impressive turn from Timoti, honestly, I think this was about time for Andrea to conceding and entering into game 3. I mean, I think he was very well played by Timoti overall. Very impressive under Effect Veiler and the Ash Blossom. And now we enter into game 3, because I mean we have both seen how our dualist decks work. How do you feel like who has the advantage?
Well, I'm looking at Andrea's deck, and one of the things that we saw in the mirror match of Kashtira in particular was that it was quite difficult going first. And one of the things, obviously, that was the most powerful about Kashtira going first against other decks was that you could make a Rise Heart. But a Rise Heart has been forbidden. So what's the game plan if you go first with Kashtira? Is it just summon Fenrir? Like, what do we do?
I mean, in some matchups, I've seen them actually choose to go second, which, you know, comes back to what you're saying. Definitely is something that you should consider. The Dragosak line is sometimes there, but I'm not even sure they are playing it because they rely on Extravagance instead, right? So is it even in the extra deck? Probably not.
They don't play the Dragosak.
Yeah, so that expecting, because usually they were playing Dragosak into IPSP kind of line, but that's not really an option with Extravagance. So yeah, it's mostly Shangri-La, like good old stuff. So it depends if you open the field spell, but yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary. You're just trying to grind. put up usually the Kashtira monsters because they can be annoying, both Unicorn and Fenrir, and just grind with them, paired with end traps and real traps, because they side into barrier, they have skill drain, so you know that's pretty much the gameplay. They also have rivalry, and there can be only one, so it is a good old Kashtira deck.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, for Timoti, I'm wondering if he has a real game plan. Maybe the crossout designators for Shifter will be quite helpful, but other than that,
yeah, I mean, it's not one of those decks you really want to play against, especially because you don't really expect it, you know. So I guess let's see if he sticks to the game plan, and maybe what he has will be enough to help him out winning this game. And
yeah, there is not too much time. There are only 30 minutes remaining to claim who will be the winner of round 9, the last remaining round for day 1 of YCS Bologna. Our duelists are almost ready with their side decks, so let's find out who is gonna take game 3. And
here they are.
They are, yeah, indeed. First, let's see if Andrea is going first. Yeah, he keeps on
swapping
He's confused as well.
Maybe he's Zambi, yeah, I guess.
Timoti just going yeah, what's going on here? Pick a side.
I'm confused. All right. Is it the third Fenrir in a row? No, it is the good one. Met by a Mourner, though. This is big. But we follow it up real quick, playing real fast. They both really don't want to end in a draw, and he has a really good opening here. This is great. Unfortunately, he's not playing the Dragosak line, because with this, he could have started off somewhat strong with that. But let's see what the plan is.
Yeah, it's interesting because with the Kashtira deck, when you draw a pile of Kashtira cards, I feel like more is not necessarily better. You kind of just need one more than your opponent has interruptions. But after that, I feel like you get quite diminishing returns.
Yeah, but I think you're really happy about the Mourner, especially because it's Mourner and it's not Veiler, so you can still use the Unicorn if you summon it back.
Yes. But you're just gonna get a Theosis, make more sevens.
Did he banish the one-off?
Yeah, he banished it. He banished the Aloid. Yes.
He only plays one, right?
Yeah, he does.
Wow, that's a big one, potentially.
That hurts a lot. Yeah. Wow, what a hit.
Yeah. And yeah, as I was saying, you get back the Unicorn, and now you can use the effect.
Here comes Theosis. So we're gonna have a full field. And back in the day when we still had Diablosis the Mind Hack, you could do a lot. But here we just pass. What does the extra Unicorn do?
I guess this is because he wants to play around Nibiru. I'm pretty sure he would have made Shangri-La, but he doesn't want to lose to Nibiru, and so he's playing it extra safe. That's the only explanation, because obviously you would use the Rysart and Unicorn to make the Shangri-La. And Impermanence plus Planet is a good way to try and fight back.
I'm not sure if I've seen a copy of the Deception in hand, which, without the Halloween, honestly, quite impactful. But let's see, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I feel like the field spell is so powerful in this version of the deck, because you have both the Sinful Spoils and the and the Magician's Souls to make use of just having one extra card on the field.
There comes his own Unicorn. Okay, let's agree it is a bit of a mirror match. He was right. Because I see the Fenrir as well in the end, I'm pretty sure.
I think I do see a Deception, you know.
Yeah,
so
he does
that's
have it.
rough.
Yes. Yeah.
and the Sinful Spoils. Wanted. Does he run any rank 7s, does Timoti? Because I feel like he's got ample ways to make rank 7s in this situation. Nothing.
Doesn't. Nope.
Just love a good rank 7, you know.
Also because like the extra deck space could be tight, you know, playing all these kind of different archetypes in his deck.
Here comes the ultimate Fenrir, trying to assert its dominance.
Is Ultimate better than Quarter Century Rare? What do you...
Nice bottle, eh?
Yeah, it's a rough one. I guess for some cards you don't have the option, so take both if you can.
Like Andrea looking, you know, despite all of these big monsters, like somewhat defenseless from what's on the field. We know he's got a Theosis in hand and possibly some other cards. Got to keep in mind the Birth and the Unicorn.
Yeah, because the Fenrir is negated and the Unicorn doesn't really do all that much. But we are just entering battle phase, it seems. And that was an odd attack to me.
It did look strange to me as well. Yeah, you want the damage in, right?
Because, yeah.
You could have just attacked over something in attack mode.
I guess he really cares about this extra deck.
Well, he's not.
Yeah, that doesn't do it. So I don't know. I'm really not convinced by this, because isn't the... Wait a second.
I thought the point was to keep the... Oh, does the Mono negate it forever? I thought Mono lasted till the end of the turn. But...
No. The Murder, yeah, of course, is back. But no, what I wanted to say is...
No,
Okay,
no,
yeah.
it doesn't boost your opponents. It just boosts your monsters, yeah.
And he got rid of the Requiem in Timothy extra deck.
But like, if you're using the Fenrir effect, then what's the point of attacking over both unicorns?
Yeah, it does seem a little strange. I don't know why you wouldn't attack in the other order to 100 extra damage.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. And hopefully it's not gonna matter, but it's good for Timoti that he's ahead in life, because there are only about 6 minutes remaining, and this could totally come down to that.
Yeah, I guess it's difficult now where to go, because you've lost the Hallowed Azamina, and I'm guessing he doesn't play any more Azamina cards.
Yeah, that was rough.
And then lost the Requiem from his extra deck, so how's he
Wait
gonna...
a second. Okay. Oh, no, okay, I was about to say, did he not realize that he banished it? But no. Okay, just activate to get rid of it with the Witch.
What's the other... I saw another Sinful Spoils in his deck, Sinful Spoils of Slumber.
Is it the trap, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrea just
There
having
it
a
is.
quick read of it.
Yeah, I think it's like a nice interaction that is not being played by our players most, but it basically targets one special summon monster to change it to face that position. And basically you can set it back if it's in the graveyard. So
Yeah, I mean, when you play 60, you can afford to play these kind of cards, because obviously the chance of opening it is a little lower.
That's Book of Moon, which is a
It's a pretty cool
classic, powerful card against Kashtira in particular.
or a Canadian.
Or a Canadian.
Point of view, I guess.
We're still waiting on the future match between you two.
But yeah, I feel like
that
that can't be it. Losing the Requiem must have really hurt. Is there no way to
yeah.
make even...
I think that was it, and
surely make an SP or something.
surely it's not today. And we passed back. 4.5 minutes remain.
No, he's still flicking through his extra deck. Because you have the
Are you
Birth.
sure? I saw Andrea draw. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong.
Oh no, maybe it...
Am I mad?
I feel like 4 is too many cards for him.
I'm
to
pretty sure
have
Andrea
without having drawn.
I don't know. Yeah. He did. He did. Yeah. And yeah, with 4 minutes remaining, you need to deal this 200 damage. We are starting things off with Fenrir, it seems. Or maybe Rysar is tough to say, but yeah. I mean,
No, he's already used Rise Heart. You can't use it again.
All right.
So here comes Fenrir. And then I guess the Fenrir gets banished, and then the Sinful Spoils trap is going to be pretty fiddly. Unless he's got another copy of Birth. If the Birth somehow resolves, which it can't at the moment, because Andrea's only got 2 cards in his graveyard, but like, can you imagine banishing all 3 of his Fenrirs face down? Unicorns even.
Yeah, unicorn.
It's a proper mirror match, you know, Alberto. You were.
I told you guys. I mean, you were not believing me.
We didn't believe it.
I mean, the
You
witch is
saw
only
through the
there.
lines.
Yeah, I mean, the witch is only there just, you know.
It's decoration.
Yeah. Andrea's trying, but it's not going to be easy, especially because, like, I mean, there's the, you know, the Sinful Spoil of Slumber, which, you know, may also help Timoti out when needed. Let's see if Andrea tries to find his way to deal this 200 damage to equal the score with almost 2 minutes remaining on the time.
Yeah, I mean, now we can banish the unicorns.
Now you need 3, don't you?
Ah, yeah, that's right. Do you? Yeah, I think you need at least 3. Yeah, you're right. Let me check. Well,
This Birth is.
yeah, you only have to target 3.
It's critical.
Still confused on where he put this card.
Yeah, you kind of have to put this face down. But
Yeah.
if you use it, does it not stop you from attacking, or does it just stop itself from attacking? I'll use this card for a while.
Yeah.
Again.
Let's see what comes next. Okay.
Here comes the Birth on the Fenrir, but you already used the effect.
Yeah, you already used the search.
So we have normaled.
Oh yes, you're right. The Rice Heart was normaled.
Oh, here comes
there's the Theosis.
the Theosis, though. Do we know what the face down is?
Did Deception get shuffled back? I think it did.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's not Deception. That's all I can tell you.
Thanks. Okay. Now is it
Oh,
down?
but here comes the Birth. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Gotta get that Kashtira player back for all the time.
Ooh, but we see a cheeky Ghost Ogre being activated to get rid of the Birth.
You can feel the tension now.
Yes, just a few seconds left, I guess. No, big guy doesn't quite do it.
Yeah, he needs some way to deal with the field spell.
What kind of extra? Because he's playing a lot of multiple cards, right?
Plays big guy.
Big guy. What does that number 78 do?
I don't know. I think we are stopping though for a moment for some clarification, because I see the clock is also stopped. So they're probably asking something from the judges. I'll check what the card is and I'll bring it up just in case. No, 70.
Oh, 76.
Okay, yeah. So, quick effect, you can target a monster your opponent graveyard, detach material from this card if you do attach that target. Okay, not quite now. Not quite now.
Not quite now.
But he has another dark arm, but that also doesn't quite do it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it would get enough damage in. Amazingly, this 100 damage can actually be really important that was missed last turn from Timoti.
Imagine, yeah.
So we have 3 attributes in play, so the Pressure Planet is currently giving everything 300 extra. Can you get away with making the red eyes and just attacking and then putting your opponent on? If you do anything, you take 500 damage?
Surely not.
And let's just go quickly back to us once the clarification is being reviewed by our judges at the table. I think it's just a matter of communication, which is being taken care of at the moment. I feel like that in general, I think this is something that, like 40 seconds remaining, both of our players, are really fighting, to win this one. And, with 40 seconds remaining, honestly, you really don't want to make any mistakes. And I also feel like it's not going to be easy for Andrea to make the right move to seal this game and come back. Because, of course, it's 200 life points, but...
Yeah, the tension is palpable. There is just very few seconds remaining, and they have been dueling all day since 9 a.m. for the first round, and now it's all or nothing. I mean, even if they lose this one out, they will be able to advance to day 2 because they are on an X11 record at the moment. But that additional win really does matter a lot, and as you've mentioned, Tom, it might come down to those extra just chunks of damage that he could have dealt last turn. And yeah, that would be incredible, because I can also see a universe where you deal exactly 200 if you go for another line, and that could be a draw, and that's just absurd. So I don't know, it's definitely has been a back and forth one. For a fact, they've shown that cash tiro cards have a lot of potential. I still remain a little bit skeptic on this pure version being the way, but there is a reason why so many successful players have decided to somewhat include them as an engine in their decks. I think they offer a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying the utility of the cash tiro cards as a kind of little piece of your deck, because it's very easy, for example with Birth. It's easier with other decks where you can just summon the monster and link it off or tribute it off for Deception, then that Birth becomes really valuable. It's almost a little harder to get value out of on the first turn for the cash tiro deck. And as we see, maybe the more cash tiro cards you draw, it's almost like they do a little bit less and less. But
diminishing returns.
Exactly.
No, I mean, I really feel like I'd like to ask Andrea, or tomorrow if there's the chance, one of his friends, Diego, Lorenzo, the choice, in-depth choices, behind this. And I mean, I think it's working out well for them. But, maybe some tips also regarding the side deck. And I mean, again, I really feel like that entering a tournament like this, I think it's consistency matters a lot, of course. And again, I think it's about how much pressure can you put into your opponent, right? Because, I mean, we saw that, of course, Fenrir and Unicorn keeps coming back again and again. And the head traps, of course, help you out a lot. Also, I feel like there is not, a very specific side deck against Kashtira in this moment, right? Because, I think people have been, focusing on Tempai, for example, as we saw. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those decks we saw the Labyrinth or the Runic Stun, where players really might not have anything to do. You look at your side deck sometimes and you think, okay, I've got all these draw lockbirds or Mold Charmy Fuvalos, or spell and trap removal even. You think, how do I deal with what I'm currently being presented with? It's not 2022 where everyone had 3 Book of Moon and
yeah.
I mean, having said all that, do you think maybe Lorenzo playing the deck because he won his national championships with it, maybe you look back favorably on a deck that you had a lot of success with it and you think, yeah, I could do that again.
I think so.
Not just that, because he had the back-to-back and he was playing a heavy cash tiro engine in Snake Eye, so the cash tiro cards must be his favorites by far. And yeah, I do have the potential of seeing some bias in there, so we'll see whether that's the case. But I'd say while we wait for the decision, we can maybe take a bit of a reflection on what has happened in day 1, so we can bring the deck breakdown from the event, because as we have been mentioning, the keyword has been the diversity, and we have seen how in very few tournaments the top performing deck does not even come close to the 20%, being Tempai at 14. So that's a big tell.
Yeah, I guess some players might like to include the Fire King and Snake Eye decks together. I think they are a little bit different in how you play against them, for sure. And obviously some players choose, they're split 50-50. It's not players are deliberately choosing to bring one or the other, so they must have strong opinions. One deck having a slightly larger engine, one deck being a little more compact but less grindy, more room for more hand traps. We're also seeing that Centurion deck. I feel like that was a lot more niche than 10% of the field. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, the variety of decks that have been played so far, and maybe tomorrow we will have even more details about this. But I've seen a lot of players playing Centurions at the top tables as well, and I think the deck has grown in popularity, especially because of the consistency, because of the key play you can make with the Synchro Monsters as well, and also with the various interactions with it through the. I really like the deck in general, and I also feel like it's has a lot of explosion, right? Because it also depends on what you really expect to play during the weekend, right? Because also during our interviews, most of the responses, I have to say, were focused on Tempai, right? Most of our players were scared of Tempai, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, at the same time though, it's even if you add the 3 top decks, you pretty much get a third of the field, which obviously math doesn't quite work that way, but it means that if you're facing off 12 rounds of Swiss and you have mostly prepared as some of these duelists against just those decks, you could be in for trouble. Because especially for some of the decks that we have seen, which are tailored with techs in the main deck, and then you get to play only against maybe 4, 5 out of 12 rounds, that's a big issue. That's a new, and that means that your deck really should be built for being, as Alberto mentioned, consistent, but also probably just being stable and not having anything too weird out of that. And I still stand on what we mentioned in our meta discussion, where it was more of a bold prediction of still repeating the 10 plus different decks in Top Cut. Now I'm almost certain about it. It should be happening if the conversion rate is that.
For sure. We had a 10 plus different in Lille, and that was 32 decks.
Exactly.
And we're going to have 64 this time, so maybe even more than 10, maybe 15 or 20.
Yeah, the road to 20 different decks gets real. Yeah. And especially when you look at the lower percentage decks and it's already on the 3% with the 40 plus remaining, it's you really have a lot of different options, and it's great. It's great to see that, especially with having 2,500 plus players here today. It shows that the game is in a state in which you can get creative and still make it work and play whatever deck I think we have been proving that today for players like Francesco playing Orquest and still winning on stream, to Exodia, and a lot of these strategies which can still be working, not just as for fun. They actually win.
Yeah, even now we're seeing 2 decks that no one probably would have predicted going into the event, except for a small group of Italian players.
Allegedly.
And it's a Kashtira mirror match, I suppose, so it was completely predicted.
But also I think this proves that if you're approaching the game right now, this proves how basically your deck can be impactful throughout a big event like this, like a YCS. Because you enter into a tournament like this and you say look, there are maybe at least 15 different decks, and I'm new to the game. Maybe I'm not so sure about my deck, but guys, we're just witnessing an incredible day of action with different decks and different strategies, big mechs, and I think honestly the game is, incredible at the moment. A lot of different decks, and you just have your chances.
And I want to take the chance to actually praise our little friend Time Wizard over here, because I've at the start of the day I've subtly mentioned it, but I can give you confirmation of another introduction and news from this event that I think we all appreciate a lot how much support and love receiving from the fans the Ultimate Time Wizard events have received. There is an amazing one for March or April 2010 for this event, which is gonna be having a giant Dark Arm Dragon for first place, which is insane. But the news is that we have set up a future match table for the Time Wizard event, and so for the first time ever at a YCS, we will be able to have some footage of the tournament going on. We will not be streaming the event live, as obviously the main event is going to take that spot, but later on we will manage to upload and do commentary as well on the videos, and I think that's great because it's just a great support for everyone home and everyone watching, and just obviously you want to support your friends, see what's winning, see who is winning, but then being able to just watch and see how they do it, I think can be of great inspiration for all of you guys if you want to try out these different formats and different ways of playing the game. So yeah, I think he is happy. I am as well.
I want to hold him too. I'm really enjoying the Time Wizard. I want to take him off you. I want to see somebody play Time Wizard in a Time Wizard format. No one's quite come up with that yet. Maybe he could see play in the 2005 formats. I assume he was out by then. He's pretty old Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's one of the things I'd have to check though.
Yeah.
I honestly can't wait, especially because I was passing by the tables today, and also there is a new introduction at this YCS as well, which is the Time Wizard September 2011. So along that one, also the 2014, which playing 2014, it was, at last YCS you destroyed me. I still remember that in 2014. But like Giardia, Mermail, Trap Trick, a lot of different decks. So I'm very happy with the way it's going, and also our players are basically experimenting a lot of different decks and strategies which we used back then, and basically readapting it differently, right? So
yeah, it's amazing
excited
to see just how much has changed. Players taking modern approaches to deck building. Yeah. You'd think because there were these YCSs at old tournaments, you'd think maybe the players had it figured out. You can just look up a list. But even in a super popular one like Time Wizard 2011, where there were so many decks at the beginning, but still every time you see players coming up with new spins on different decks, coming up with new tech cards they like. I'm seeing cards, to go off the wall a bit, like Possessed Dark Soul coming out of nowhere to take a bunch of Dupe Frogs. Cyber Valley is suddenly the new craze. It's, even though it's sort of frozen in time, it doesn't stop players from innovating these old formats.
No, and at the same time, obviously, it's also great to see products such as of late Quarter Century Bonanza, where you are able to update your decks for events such as YCS Bologna, but at the same time you have the 200 nostalgia pulls, which really takes you back to every different format that we witnessed, and from which you can take cards and either just get your first copies of those cards, or in maybe our cases even update them to different rarities, either platinum or quarter century. So it's great. We've had a lot of introductions. We've talked a little bit about that in some of the videos that will come out at some point live throughout the weekend. With that Master versus Caster as well, where I've had the pleasure to play against the current reigning Ultimate Time Wizard European champion. So it's great to see that you can play Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2024 in a lot of different ways, and I think that's just great. And yeah, it's up to you to find what's more fitting for you, but the options are out there. So yeah, at the same time, I want to give you an update on the match of what's going on. Essentially, the pace, as you might have noticed, was slowing down a little bit from both sides, but the problem is that both players already had previous slow play warnings. So it's absolutely not the easiest decision to figure out. But I mean, once the head judge arrives to the table and discusses, they'll find out more, and we'll be able to give you a proper update on that as well. But yeah, we have mentioned it is the last round. You need to advance to day 2, probably an X3 score to just technically advance, but to make it to the top cut, we say that. I don't want to, just say it's 100% guaranteed, but it should be guaranteed when you make it to, a draw and 2 losses. So that's the score we are looking at, advancing with.
Yeah, but there is a large number of players, so you always have to keep your eye on that. When there's 2,800 players, maybe it starts to get a little closer to like the scores have to be a little better until like an extra round gets introduced. I'm sure like everyone is probably wanting to look up the maths, or maybe look up someone else who's done the maths
it's
and
impossible.
can tell you like, you know, the more players, then you get one extra round, so then it's harder to get the score and then so on. So you can never really know. So it's always worth, if you're playing, you've got a good score, you want to see how good you can get and maybe sneak into that top 64.
No, especially because like when you enter into day 2, like the less losses you have, the more you can think of, you know, maybe I have still another round, maybe I can afford to lose, right? So you don't have that pressure constantly saying I have to win them all, right? So I'm not really like, you know, it's not the end of the world if you lose the last one in day 1. Still, of course, you enter into day 2 saying I have to win all of them, you know. And it's not going to be easy, but, you know, still, like tomorrow, 3 more rounds of Swiss, plus the top 64. So it's going to be a long day of action tomorrow as well. And honestly, let's say if Joshua Schmidt, who we saw in round 1, and I saw him at the top tables, I can tell you, maybe can do it again.
Yeah, maybe. Again, picking a kind of rogue deck. He seems to love coming up with brand new and innovative decks that are less popular, especially at YCS Bologna. So maybe if there's another Italian YCS in the future, he'll whip up something new for us to enjoy. Totally.
And no, yeah, I mean, like the atmosphere today has been incredible. Like numbers, like more than 2,500 people playing today. And beautiful atmosphere, to be fair. And I'm glad for someone like, you know, me playing Time Wizard to see a lot of people playing it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But in the meantime, while we wait for the final decision, let's hear it from the man itself, Ed.
Well, thank you very much, Marcello. Yes, this is one of the difficult moments where, after letting those guys try and fill for as long as they can, we started to feel a bit bad. So we're going to give them a moment to just sort of relax a bit. This is obviously quite a complicated situation that happens in these matches. The head judges and things have to do some investigations, make sure everything's okay. But at the moment, anything could happen at this point, so I suppose it's always interesting to see how this goes, and hopefully at some point in the next few minutes we'll be able to kick back off and then basically finish that game regardless of what happens. It's been a long old day here. We're now in the 9th round and each of them go into extra time, so that's over an hour per round, which probably makes it over 9 hours, maybe even 10 hours, maybe even 11 hours. It's basically been about 11 hours, so you can understand. I want to give those guys a little bit of a break. I suppose in the meantime, something we could talk about briefly as a little bit of a tease is, obviously you guys are aware that something that might be defining the meta going forward in the format with new and upcoming sets is crossover breakers, and that is coming out very soon. And Leo and I had the pleasure of filming some content for that, which you guys will be able to get, you know, a little bit of a glimpse of sometime soon over on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card EU official YouTube channel. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that. A very interesting set, obviously, with the Ryzeal deck and the Malice decks being two of the very, very sort of meta-defining theory crafts that are coming up. So make sure that you guys do check that out when it comes, because I'm fairly sure most people are saying that it's going to be having a, you know, a pretty big impact on the meta. We're also being told that we might be hearing a bit more about this, so I am going to pass you guys back over to our commentary team, who will be able to just fill you guys in on exactly what is happening. So, gentlemen, back over to you.
Yes, thank you, Ed. Indeed, and as he was saying, yeah, I mean, it has been a pleasure being here with you guys for the entirety of the day 1, but yeah, unfortunately, sometimes you know, these duels must end in an unusual way, as that will be the case for this one. And we are still finalizing, you know, the winner of the match, but we will be preparing the post-match analysis as usual, just to review some of the key moments that have been going on. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. We have mentioned it plenty of times throughout the years. Playing on stage can really get to your nerves, no matter how many times you've done it in the past, and no matter how many times you will do it still. And there are particular matches in which it's even tougher, from round 1 and the last round of day one. So the good news is that both players are still completely in contention, no matter what the result, for making it to the top 64, and at least they are guaranteed to advance to day two. But yeah, I'd say in the meantime, there is still not really a decision on our way. That's the thing. So,
I mean, yeah, in situations like this, it's very tense, and with only 40 seconds on the clock, the judges can have a tough time figuring out exactly what the correct decision is, but they work very hard and try and get to the bottom of these things. As we know, like, we're catching everything on camera, so they've got everything at their disposal to make the right decision. And we always need to be very appreciative of our judges who make the events run as smoothly as they possibly can.
Oh, exactly. I mean, always be on the safest side to make the right call. And here with just, you know, waiting for the decision from our judges, which are just discussing this. And I mean, while waiting for the decision from our judges, we have a small video for you while waiting, and we will shortly be back for the finish of the last round of Swiss for today.
Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Bologna 2024, and we are here with Julio Valls. And Julio Valls, of course, is a very well-known face, as he was not only a finalist of this year's European Championship, but also top 8 at the World Championship with the same deck twice. And therefore, we're going to look deeper into that deck today, as we have a combo tutorial with the Ritual Beast deck and the master himself, Julio. How are you feeling today, Julio?
Well, in general, I didn't sleep because I just right now in the Italy.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, okay. But I mean, Ritual Beast stuff, you know for that, you know the stuff. So let's go over to the top view and let's look at some cards. So what are you going to explain to us here? What's the combo going to start with?
First, I will explain the most generic combo, that is the one card combo of Kanahau.
Okay.
For this combo, you don't need more extra cards in hand.
Just the Kanahau. Okay, that's lovely.
Kanahau has the effect to banish any Ritual Beast card, and in 2 turns you take back. It's like a gold sarcophagus effect.
True. Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing about him is he's so old that it's like not once per turn, not a hard once per turn, which is really cool.
The limits of this deck are that all the cards can only special summon one time.
That's very important, yeah. Sometimes you can lose track of that. Yeah. Okay, so what are we banishing?
The card that we will banish is the new Spiritual Beast Lara.
Yes.
That this card, when it's banished, summon any Ritual Beast monster from the deck.
All right.
Here, when you are starting with the Kanahau, this means that you will have more cards in your banished stone. So you will use the summon of the Tamer that summons from graveyard, and you will keep the one that summons from banished stone.
Okay.
Here we have a Tamer and a Spiritual Beast monster, and we can make a contact fusion.
Oh yeah, contact fusing. Let's
go.
For
the Ulti Kanahau.
That's not going to be the last time we see that guy. Okay, so Ulti Kanahau now is going to activate its effect, right?
It has 2 effects. The first one is target 2 Ritual Beast cards to put to the graveyard.
Yeah.
And the second is a cost put to the extra deck to summon a Spiritual Beast monster and a Tamer. The crazy part of the new support is that this card is both. So it comes a Spiritual monster and
That's really
a
strong,
Tamer.
yeah.
So this card is out.
Sorry, Julio, to interrupt your amazing combos, but we have finally the decision for the match, as our head judge came to the table. In the end, unfortunately, as we've mentioned, there was a previous penalty for slow play warning, which has been upgraded to a game lost for Andrea, which means that Timoti is the winner of the last round. Congratulations to him, but still congratulations to both for advancing to day 2. And congratulations to you for being with us for the entirety of day 1. It has been a pleasure being with, you know, Alberto and Tommaso, Tom, commentating. But thank you guys. Make sure as well to tune in tomorrow. So this was the end from our side. See you tomorrow. But before we do that, we want to hear it one last time from Ed.